So you're out and about and you're dashing, and although it seemed very busy a minute ago, suddenly you're not receiving any orders anymore. Or you were receiving orders just fine, and now you move to a different location, and for some reason the Dasher app is frozen, or the hotspot locations are not loading. It says hotspot's not available right now. Or there's a few other things that can happen to the Dasher app that sort of indicate to you that something is terribly wrong with the app. Any experienced Dasher knows that this is a common occurrence, that the Dasher app will occasionally freeze or crash or require some troubleshooting. Okay? Now, if you're new to door dashing, you should know that the Dasher app is very data intensive, meaning that it is constantly communicating with the Dash server. And so because of that, it's updating the GPS, it's updating orders, notifications. It is in constant contact with the Dasher server. When something happens to disrupt that communication, that's when the app will begin to act funky and wanky, and it will crash and it will freeze, and a host of other things that can happen. So in this video, what I'm going to explain is a step-by-step procedure on how to troubleshoot the app from the simplest to the most difficult, and to get that Dasher app up and running like normally again. So keep in mind, these are things that you can do while you're dashing. If you suddenly notice that the Dasher app is either freezing, or it's acting wanky, or you're not getting orders anymore and you feel like you should, or a host of any other thing that can go wrong with the Dasher app, right? So the very first thing on the list, the very first troubleshooting item on the list, is to make sure that you are not connected to a Wi-Fi signal. You need to shut Wi-Fi off. You know, a lot of people will turn Wi-Fi on because when they're home, they're actually using their house's Wi-Fi to use their cell phone to save on data for a faster connection or whatever the case may be. And then they go out dashing and they forget to shut off their Wi-Fi. Now, if you're out and about and you're dashing and you have Wi-Fi on, there's a lot of free signals out there. So especially when you're dealing with restaurants that you're going to, they're going to have free Wi-Fi for their customers. But the problem is you are outside the restaurant. You are outside these places that have this free Wi-Fi available, and so your signal is going to be extremely weak. When that signal is extremely weak, the Dasher app, which thinks it's communicating to the Dash server through Wi-Fi, suddenly is not receiving any instruction at all because the Wi-Fi signal is not nearly strong enough to run the Dasher app. So number one thing you should do is check your Wi-Fi, make sure it's off. Always have the Wi-Fi off when you're dashing, okay? The second most important thing that you should do is to make sure that you have a good mobile data connection. Very often, when I'm out and about and I'm dashing, I may have a very, very good, strong mobile data signal, but for some reason in certain spots, in certain parking lots, certain places I go to, the signal just drops out. It's not even there anymore. And so I don't know why that is. There's just antenna dead spots throughout a city. So one of the things you want to do is check to see if you have good mobile data connectivity. The way you can do that, there's a free app called Speed Test, right? Now the website is speedtest.net, and I'll put a link to it below. You can either do it through their website, or you can get the iPhone app or the Android app. It's very simple. If you look here, you'll see it's just a simple screen. You hit the go button, and it will do a signal check, and it'll tell you the kind of speeds that you're getting. Now, for me, I notice anything below 5 megabytes or megabits per second will actually cause the DoorDash software to fail, right? It can't communicate. It can't load new orders. You know, one of the indicators of that, I don't know if you guys ever experienced that, this is when you suddenly get a text message saying new order at McDonald's, but it's not coming up on the Dasher app. It's like, where's the new order? I don't see the new order. That's because the signal is so weak that the Dasher app cannot communicate with the server, and it's not receiving that order. So use that speedtest.net website, get the app, simple, you press the button, it'll show you your approximate speeds and what you're getting. If you see anything above 510 megabits per second, all the way up to 600 megabits per second if you're on 5G, then you know you have a good signal, right? So there's your second check, troubleshooting item that you want to do. The third thing that I would do from there, if everything seems to be fine, I have a good data connection, I'm not connected to Wi-Fi, and for some reason I don't seem to be getting any orders, I simply, on the Dasher operation page, which is your main page that you're looking at most of the time, what I will do is hit the little arrow button in the top left corner. That will take me back to the Dasher homepage. And then what I do is I click on the Return to Dash button, and that will bring me back to the Dasher main screen. And what that does is sort of resets the map, resets GPS. So that little move, just go back to the main homepage and then go back to the Dasher page. And what that'll reset the GPS. And what's good about that is because I've done another video, which you can take a look at up here, where I talk about the Doordash app not recognizing where you were or placing you in a location where you used to be, but you're not there now. So there's sort of a confusion there, right, of where the app thinks you are. And so the orders might be reflected in that you're not even near the restaurants or anything. So again, by doing that, that sort of resets stuff. Again, if you're an experienced Dasher, you know this already. Go back and then go forward, right? Hit the Return to Dash button. And so that's the third item that you should try in your troubleshooting. The fourth thing, very simple also, is if none of these seem to be working, then what you want to do is you want to go into airplane mode. Every phone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, has airplane mode. What that does, it kills the mobile signal. So it basically makes the phone where it's not communicating with anything. And then after about 5 or 6 seconds, what you want to do is turn airplane mode back off again. What that does is it disconnects you from DoorDash's main server, and then once you come out of airplane mode, it reconnects you to the server. So many times, and we don't know why this is, people that have been asking this question for a long time, why suddenly does the DoorDash server think I'm in idle mode? Meaning you're not really working anymore, you're just sort of sitting there doing nothing. And when you're in idle mode, right, and DoorDash has actually admitted to this happening, is that when you're in idle mode, you're not going to get any orders. It thinks that you're sort of parked, almost like you're not ready to receive orders for some reason. So when you disconnect from their server and you reconnect to the server, especially using that airplane mode, it actually resets your presence on the DoorDash server. So now it knows that you're here, you're active. So that's a quick thing that you can do to try to reset. And usually that's just about getting orders. That's not about malfunctioning apps. That's just about getting orders if you suddenly stop getting orders, okay? The fifth thing you can try is doing a forced shutdown of the app. Now, on an iPhone, I believe you would have to go to the home screen and then you swipe up to see all the apps that are open, and then you find the DoorDash app and then you just swipe up and make it go away, and that should do a hard shutdown of that app. What you want to do on an Android is that you want to go to the Dasher icon and you want to press it and hold it, and that'll bring up a menu that will come up. And within that menu, there's a little information icon. So you want to press that information icon. When you do that, it'll bring you to the app's data stuff for the app, all the different choices and things that you can do with the app. And one of those options is force shutdown. And you'll see that here in this version of Android, you'll see it at the bottom of the page. So what you want to do is you want to hit that force shutdown button. It's going to give you a little warning that if you shut off the app, bad things can happen, but that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get it to shut off completely to stop bad things that are currently happening now, okay? So that's one of the things you can try on either an iPhone or an Android is force shut down the app. Don't worry, you're not going to lose any data. You're not going to lose your schedule. If you're currently dashing and you're on a schedule, when you come back, everything's going to be exactly the same, okay? It knows where you're at. It's not going to kick you off the schedule. You'll be right back where you started, okay? The next thing you want to try, which takes a little bit longer, is you want to restart your phone, okay? So again, iPhones, Androids, different versions have different ways of just shutting the phone down or restarting the phone. One of the reasons why you're doing that is you want to clear out the memory, because sometimes the app can have some data that was corrupted while it was running, and that data is stuck in the phone's memory, and they keep repeating the same broken piece of data over and over. So when you restart the phone, you're actually dumping the memory, and so that when you restart the phone and then it reloads the app, you're reloading the app from the original instructions and not from maybe some damaged data that was in there. So hopefully it'll get rid of that damaged data, and hopefully that'll take care of the problem. Again, some of the problems you might see is the app might be freezing. One of the problems that I've been seeing lately, and I'm not sure if you guys have, where I'm on a schedule and I'm getting ready to log into the beginning of my dashing schedule, and I hit dash, and then the screen flashes, and then it says dash now. And I'm like, okay, I just pressed that. So then I press dash now, and it keeps telling me, you're already dashing. You can't hit dash now. And I'm like, okay. And then I go out of the different screens, and I come back in, and I'll press the schedule, and I keep coming back, and it will not let me get an order because it thinks I'm not even logged in yet. But when I try to log in, it tells me I'm already logged in. All right, so that's the kind of thing that either one, you want to restart your phone, and even then sometimes it doesn't work, right? So, but restarting the phone will actually reset some of the data. Hopefully will reload and get rid of any broken data that may be stuck in memory, okay? And that leads to the last thing. So the situation that I had just explained, there is only one way that I've found that really works all the time. When something like that happens, I'm sort of in this stuck mode. I'm logged in, but it won't let me log in. I'm stuck, I try to log in again, it tells me I'm already logged in. The only thing I've done that works at that point is by uninstalling the software, okay? Now, again, when you uninstall the software, this is just procedural, right? You're not getting rid of your data. You'll still be on the dash. Believe it or not, if you're still on the schedule, you uninstall it, you come back on, it still knows that you're scheduled. It knows that you're currently dashing. The only thing that you'll be required to do when you reinstall the app, after you uninstall it, go back to the Play Store or the App Store and re-download the Dasher app, reinstall it, and it's going to ask you to log in. So you want to make sure before you do that, make sure that you know your login credentials, right? Your username and your password. As long as you do, you reinstall the app. Now, there are some settings in there that if you have changed some of the settings previously, you're going to lose that setting, so you have to go in and make sure that those settings are back the way you want them. But other than that, that is the only thing I found that cures that problem that I had. There are other problems where they will not go away until you uninstall the app. Again, that's going to take a few minutes. It takes a little while, but it'll take a few minutes to uninstall it, go get it, download it again, reinstall it, log in, and then once you log in, you'll be back to where you started, and hopefully all the problems that you had will go away. So that's the last troubleshooting item that you would want to do, okay? So real quick, those 7 troubleshooting steps are: make sure you're not connected to Wi-Fi, make sure you have a good data connection and use that speedtest.net, it really works. Go backwards from the Dasher screen to the home page, the Dasher home page, and then hit return to Dash, and then go back to the Dasher page. Try going into airplane mode. Let it go into airplane mode, and then wait 5 or 6 seconds, and then shut off airplane mode and see if that does the trick. If not, do a forced shutdown of the app, and if that doesn't work from there, restart your phone, right? And if that doesn't work, if all else fails to this point, uninstall the software and reinstall the software. Usually, just the first few things. You look down, you realize you're connected to Wi-Fi, or a major one is that you don't have a mobile connection, right? You look down, you're like, oh, and then you look, you have like 1 bar, and even that's not really enough to get a good signal. So very often, more than not, it's because you lost the signal. You lost your data connection. So it may require you to move your car, move locations, maybe turn off mobile data and turn it back on again just to reconnect to the tower. That's going to be a big one. The rest of these are just steps that you can do if in each step you find none of these things are working. So, and then if you get to that point and nothing is working, then you just have to communicate with DoorDash's customer service. That is a whole other video, because dealing with DoorDash customer service is mind-blowing. And I'll explain why in some future video. But for now, if you found this video helpful at all, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that. And I will see you guys in the next video.